Hello, I'm Cathryn Hayes and I'm Head of Franchising for HSBC. Well, franchising is a really good option for companies looking to expand, and the sort of companies that can think about franchising as a means of expansion would be ones where they're already a profitable, successful company and they're looking to expand either in the UK or even across border. We see quite a lot of international franchising as well. Franchising can be a really good option for companies looking to grow their business. What you quite often find with franchisees is that because they own the business, they've put their own money into it, they've probably put their house on the line for it as well. They've got a real interest in making that business a success, much more than say a company manager would have or could have. So quite often, if it's retail based, they'll be the ones serving the last customer coming in just as the doors are closing. They'll be the ones really keen to keep costs down, to keep staff engagement levels up and to keep the customers happy. A business can think about franchising really once it's reached a stage of being profitable and successful in its own right. I think when a business is still growing and it's still waiting to reach break even, that's too early for it to think about franchising. But once it's successful and it's starting to look at the different growth options open to it, then I think franchising is a really good option. Most sectors can be franchised. We see a lot of evidence of franchising in things like the fast food sector with the big names that everybody will know about, but also in the white collar sector there's a number of franchises, printing, copying, service sectors, lots of the businesses that come around helping people who are cash rich and time poor, those will often be franchised. And a lot of the reason for that is that franchising lends itself to giving good service to customers. If a company is going to think about franchising, the first step is obviously to do some research, and that's where HSBC Franchise Unit can help. We've got a very comprehensive guide to franchising called Grow Your Business Through Franchising, and that's available to customers and non-customers thinking of using franchising as an option for growth. And one of the things that we do quite a lot of is actually signpost customers to help them get the information they need to make the right decision. Because franchising isn't something that every business wants to do. One of the things we strongly recommend to companies thinking about franchising is that they pilot before they launch a franchise and ask franchisees to pay to help them expand. And the reasons for this are fairly obvious. You've got to have a tried and tested format before you can franchise, and the pilot gives you that. It helps you iron out all the little problems that there might be, and it sometimes can show you where problems could arise, because quite often we see with as particularly smaller businesses, the initial business owner has really nurtured that business, they've got the entrepreneurial spirit, and they perhaps don't realise that franchisees might not have that. So franchisees will often need more hand-holding. The pros of franchising are that a company can expand a bit quicker than it would possibly be able to do if it was funding the additional outlets through its own resources, its own cash flow. The franchisee will pay for the start-up costs of the outlet or the business, and they will also cover the working capital costs. It will mean that the franchisor doesn't necessarily need to have a huge staff at central head office. They'll need to have some people out on the road supporting the franchisees, but on the whole the franchisees will be self-managing. They'll cover their own staff holidays, they'll cover their own holidays, and the franchisor won't need to support them to the same extent that they would do if it was a range of company-owned outlets. The cons of franchising are that initially you are going to have to lay out some money to get things done properly. You need a good legal agreement, you need to have proper training for the franchisees as they come on board, you need to recruit those franchisees in the first place. So it's going to take a while before the money that you make from the franchisees paying you their fee starts to recover the costs that you've already paid. Another disadvantage is that a franchisee has invested their own money in their own business, so you can't tell them what to do in the same way that you would a manager of a company-owned outlet. So if, for instance, you wanted to change the brand or change the stock or the way that you do business, you would have to persuade the franchisees to come on board with this new way of doing things. Whereas if it was company-owned, of course, you could just make that decision and implement it immediately. HSBC can help in two ways where a business is looking to go into franchising. On the one side, we can help through the central franchise unit with our comprehensive guide to help companies look at what franchising is and what impact it would have on their business. And we can also introduce them to various professionals, lawyers, consultants who are involved in franchising and who can help them plan that route. We've got a lot of information on our website, which is www.hsbc.co.uk/franchise, and that also includes the ability to send for our guide to franchising, which goes into the pros and cons, some of the additional information about costs that might be involved, and also gives some resources for further information. So it's quite a comprehensive guide that's available to customers and non-customers.